The next major area of concern, which has been in the headlines all the time, and for good reason, is the federal debt. And this is my favorite quote, and this is why I include it in every conversation or seminar that I teach, because this is one of the major problems confronting everybody as an American. Doesn't matter what party you're in, this affects everybody in America. Truth is not only violated by falsehood, it may be equally outraged by silence. The decline of all great nations started with too much debt, including the great Roman Empire, right to the present countries in Greece, Italy, Spain, and Portugal. You can't even believe what's going on in these countries. I'm going to show you that a little bit later. But that is one of the problems. Now look what happened to this country. 5 years ago, the debt was $9 trillion. It's now $17 trillion. 10 years ago, it was $6.8 trillion. It took us 200 years to get to $6 trillion in debt. 200 years. And it only took 10 years to take it from $6 trillion to $17 trillion. Now think about that. It doesn't matter what party you're involved in. This is something that is clearly unsustainable. And one of the things that it's not showing right now is the interest rates are so low, so the interest on the debt is only $241 billion. It's only a few percent. But if interest rates go up, 1% more adds $160 to $200 billion to the debt. Our debt service could skyrocket, interest rates would go high, and we've had a lot of problems. So this is something that has to be taken care of, and it has to be addressed. And I'm going to show you a couple of ways that we could work our way out of this. Now, just to give you some relativity, you say, well, we have a $16.5 trillion economy, you have $16 trillion debt. What does that mean? Well, we now have as much debt as we have a GDP, total economic environment. We have 100% debt. Well, what does that mean? Usually when a country gets to 60 to 80% debt, that's a warning sign that it's gone too far. We're at 100%. So I made a study of 31 nations that filed bankruptcy or had to reorganize themselves under bankruptcy codes. 31 countries in the last 30 years. The average GDP was 69%. In other words, 70% was about as far as you can go. We're at 100%. Only 5 of those countries had a GDP, debt to GDP, higher than 100%. So you know that 100% is pushing the limit when only 5 countries got away with that, and the other ones were even at 69 or 70%. So this is a major concern. Now let me tell you what happens when a country goes too far in debt, and then people won't accept the debt, and you have to restructure, and you go through all the things that Greece, Portugal, and Spain have gone through. The first thing you get is high interest rates, which raises the cost of everything. 25% unemployment in these countries across the board. And among the youth, it's 40 to 50%. So you can see that, as you've been reading in the paper, there have been riots and strikes and all kinds of civil disobedience because of what's happening to the public. Now let me tell you what happened to the public. Their pensions, which were promised to them by the government, were cut 50 to 70%. So this would be like Social Security being cut 50 to 70%. I'm not projecting that that's going to happen, but that's what happened in these countries. They eliminated all kinds of services. There is just chaos in these countries, and no matter how much of a bailout they get, Greece is about ready for another bailout. And this just goes on and on. The suicide rate in Greece was the lowest in the world. It's now the highest. So if a nation doesn't meet their demands to get things in line, it's going to work out one way or another. And so these are the kind of situations you have.